Damn.
All right,
That was
that
epic.
was awesome, John.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
was
that
epic.
was awesome, John.
Yeah, that's great.
Kudos on the music.
Yeah. This is the new intro to the stream beat, as long as everyone as long as it keeps being enjoyable. This is a track that I produced. Wow. I've been producing it for a few days, but did the stitching it all together and turning it into a track this morning. So it was all done on these
Sweet.
Synthy boys
Nice.
next to me.
No,
which
I don't think you'll
constantly-
get any complaints from anyone about that being the intro to the stream.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. These are the toys that distract me from work every day. They sit in my office where I should be working. I guess it's work, right? This is, we're using it for the stream. It's fine.
Yeah,
100%.
Awesome. So this is, well, firstly, why don't we introduce ourselves? Because this is probably going to be like a recurring stream. As Supabase gets larger and larger, we're getting more and more awesome people, and thankfully more and more awesome people in the APAC region. So it kind of started off with myself and Thor holding down the DevRel team, and then we did a stream with for Supabase, and Alaister helped us out, and then we got him a job, and then Tyler's been helping out for years on the repos and building lots of cool stuff, and so now he's here as well. I just realized I've just gone ahead and started introing people. So how about I just intro myself, and then we can intro you guys. So I'm John. I'm a developer advocate at Supabase, and I've been working at Supabase for maybe 8 months. Just got back from a whole bunch of leave from having a baby, so I'm operating on minimal sleep and holding it together. Alaister.
Awesome.
Who are you?
Thank you. Well, no, it's you should say you're from Melbourne as well, seeing this is the APAC happy hour. But I too am from Melbourne, not too far away from John. And I'm primarily working on the storage team at Supabase, but I've somehow worked my way onto these live streams, which I'm pleased about. I'm looking forward to building some super cool apps.
Yeah, I love that. Like, you have met most of the Supabase team over in Germany, and we live in the same city, and we haven't met yet. So
that's it.
Really dropping the ball there. All right, Tyler, what about you?
Yeah, I'm Tyler, and I'm actually tuning in from Tokyo, Japan, and I work as a DevRel at Supabase, as well as I work on some of the Dart and Flutter SDK related stuff. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome.
So you're definitely living in the coolest place then.
Definitely.
I don't know about that.
I still feel like Japan snow has ruined my enjoyment of all other snow anywhere in the world. I went on a snowboarding trip to Japan, and it was just amazing. It just constantly snowed the entire time while we were there. So it was like you go up to the top of the mountain and you snowboard down, and you're like cutting fresh tracks, and then you get back on the chairlift and go up, and then it snowed so much while you're doing that you go back through and cut fresh tracks. It was just amazing.
Right.
And so thanks for making it so I can only enjoy snowboarding on the other side. Well, I guess it's not the other side of the world. It's probably, it's a lot closer.
Relatively close, really, compared to a lot of places we could be going.
True. And I guess you don't have that like jet lag time difference as well. If you go from Australia to Japan, there's only like a 2-hour difference.
Yeah.
Easy.
Hopefully we start opening up to tourists again soon, but we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully just in time for the snow season.
Yeah.
All right. So Thor would usually be with us as well. So he's the other one of the other DevRels at Supabase, but he is off. Where is he even? I don't know. He's traveling the world somewhere, having some holiday like usual.
I want to say Thailand, but I have no idea. I'd be making it up.
I'm sure he's having a great time. But he will be joining us in future streams, because I think we're going to do these, I think, weekly. We'll see how it goes and whether people enjoy it and whether anyone can actually tune in at this time, because we are kind of obnoxiously just being like, we'll just do it at a time that's convenient for us. Most of what we usually have to do is not convenient for us. So this is our time to enjoy. But hopefully there'll be some people that can also join us. But what we're planning on doing is we are going to build a multi-client application. And so what that means is we are going to build one Supabase backend. Oh, I could actually share my screen.
There you go.
Just in
Look
case
at that.
you don't know what Supabase is. Supabase is the open source alternative to Firebase, or just a backend as a service. So an easy way to get a Postgres database up and running. And we give you things like, if I'm on the right screen, we can scroll down, give you a database, take care of authentication and authorization. We have file storage, and now very recently we have edge functions as well, which is very exciting. And so what we want to do is we want to build an application. So build one Supabase backend, which is probably what we'll, I guess, start working on through this stream. And then in future streams, look at tying into that from a web application. So building like a Next.js app or a Remix app, something like that, that can talk to our Supabase backend. And then looking at building a mobile app that uses the same Supabase backend, but for a completely different client application. So I've got all of the specialists I need here. Alaister is our SQL genius. That's how he got a job here, as we've keep joking about in these streams, that he helped us out with an SQL problem that Thor and I couldn't wrap our heads around. And we jokingly told him that he had passed the technical challenge in the stream and that he should come and work at Supabase. And then I went on leave to have a baby, and I came back and he worked here. So yeah, turns out we have that kind of power.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that far, John, but you'll make me blush.
But if we get stuck at any point during this stream,
it's going to be my fault. I know I shouldn't have put the light bulb next to my name. It's kind of dangerous. I've really set myself up for failure now.
Absolutely. And then Tyler is going to help us out with building a Flutter app, because I have never touched Flutter. I've done a very small amount of mobile development. I did a little bit of React Native, but that was just because of my familiarity with React already. So yeah, it'll be very interesting when we jump into that. But we thought, rather than us coming up with an idea beforehand, we would have a brainstorm about things that we might want to build that we could build those two apps for, and kind of work out what we're going to build as we're building it. So you can see the creative process involved in creating a Supabase application. Do either of you have any ideas for something cool that we could build?
Ooh, you're putting us on the spot. I'd like to put everyone in chat on the spot as well.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
I like
joining
that.
us. Give us some good ideas. I think we've actually got someone from Perth in. That's awesome. There you go. The APAC time zone is working out.
Yeah. Welcome to the stream, Inners. And we have Jono Scott. Where are you coming to us from? Are you also in somewhere in APAC or somewhere else? We've got Richard Hoare washing their hands, which okay, cool. And then
dating app.
And Adam, who very much liked the intro.
There you go.
I'm glad. Excellent. And there's Anton, and Anthony's coming to us from Melbourne. So anyone else who's
Anthony.
Oh, nice.
He's a mate of mine. He's great.
Excellent. Welcome.
We were hanging out at the React Melbourne meetup the other night.
Right. Actually, I do remember I meant to respond to a tweet where you were challenging us to get Supabase to pay for all of us to get together and have real drinks in Australia and do a Supabase meetup, which I love the sound of. So yeah, I think we'll have to get that happening soon. And then we have Jono, who is coming from Sydney, so also in Australia. That's cool.
Nice.
And Richard thought that he was clapping hands. Well, you're kind of clapping them together with like some soap to wash your hands. I guess it's similar.
That's great.
And New Zealand, awesome. So we got like three continents tuning in, all in the one region. Very cool.
And a good amount of Melbourne.
Yeah.
And then we have a Javi Coda, who is joining us. Where are you at the moment? Somewhere. And we have try build a real-time chat app with one-on-one messaging. Yeah, so that could be cool. We could build.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah, and then we could.
Yeah, the dating app could have one-on-one messaging in there.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. We could do the whole like swiping.
Yeah.
That's
How are your animation skills these days, John?
well, I mean, this sounds like the mobile app side of it.
Yeah.
So how confident do you feel, Tyler?
Yeah, we'll just throw it to Tyler. You do it.
Yeah. Oh, Anton's convinced their employee to give us some dollars. I hope you mean us personally and not Supabase. That would be excellent. Yeah, just we'll post our BSB and account number at the end, and you can send that through. Hey, we got someone tuning in from Africa. That's very cool.
Awesome.
What time is it in Africa?
Good question.
Well, which
7
part
a.m.,
of Africa?
I guess
It's not
pretty
too
early
bad.
in the morning.
Yeah. Happy hour breakfast, which is good. Hijabi's coming to us from Nairobi, which is awesome. And how about 1 on pi? SQL that. Do you mean like 1 divided by pi? I'm not sure what that one means.
Yeah.
Me either.
Oh, can we demo the new real-time with multiplayer feature? So this is something that if you head over to Hacker News, I think. Let's see.
I think the demo is live on multiplayer.dev.
That's right.
Yeah. But if you want us to build something with that, we could probably talk to the real-time team in a couple of weeks, maybe give you something. But we'll have to see about that one. But yeah, it'd be cool.
Recommend you go check out multiplayer.dev. If you load up the site, you'll see a bunch of cursors swinging around. So there's Alaister, and I'm here. And so, yeah, this is very cool. It's some new functionality that we have coming to coming to real time, where instead of needing to do like a round trip to the database and write a new row to the database, and then anything that's subscribed to those changes gets notified, we can stream those changes directly, I believe, peer-to-peer using something like WebRTC or something. I might just be completely lying, but a way to send these events directly to other clients that are currently logged in. And so, yeah, using something similar to like presence instead of just subscribing to changes in the database, which can take a little bit of time to make it to the database and then come back. So it might not be the best time to build something with that right now, but as Alaister hinted, maybe in a few streams we could think about getting some other people from Supabase to jump on with us, and we can
probably upset the real-time team a bit with a short notice request.
Yeah, we'll ping them now on Slack and just bring them in. Had about as much preparation as we had, so it's fine. So we'll look at building something with that. Hey, we got someone else from Singapore. So
nice.
For those that don't know, Supabase has a bunch of people in Singapore, and kind of I guess the 2 founders were there, and so it all kind of kicked off from that area. It's definitely a worldwide company now as more and more people join. We're spread out all over the world, but we're obnoxiously doing happy hour in APAC, which is fair because we're doing it first, right? We're the first ones that get to have a Friday afternoon. So I feel like it's only right that we stream that event for others to enjoy.
We have to take full advantage of it.
Yeah, even if it is the middle of the night on Thursday for you or whatever, I feel like that's totally valid. And is that time? TX as in you're streaming in from Texas?
Could well be.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like it's not a very good time in Texas. Oh, it's not that bad. Just after midnight. That's the perfect time for application development. And also that means that it's technically Friday for you. So welcome to Friday. That's awesome.
True.
Welcome to the future.
Yeah, welcome to the future. We have someone tuning in from Taiwan. Awesome. And yes, we're tuning in from Texas. This is awesome. Friday lunch. That's excellent.
Perfect.
Very cool. So maybe this is an okay time. Midnight for some, like 7 a.m. for others, and like 3 p.m. for us, which is, it's great.
You got a whole bunch of people from APAC.
So, some kind of dating app potentially. some
We could
kind of
possibly start out with a chat app, and then if we have time, or if you want to expand on it, we could, do the dating app part.
cool. Well, you see, we've got plenty of time to kind of drag our feet until the mobile app development part of it, so we can keep making really, really big promises for a long time, and then we'll see what we can actually build once we get there. So we got someone asking for a remix. Yeah, so on the web app side of things, we definitely could build something in Remix, or could build something in Next.js or Angular, or just React on its own, or anything. Does anyone have any preferences? We got one vote for Remix. Please don't actually vote Angular, because I don't think any of us. There's nothing wrong with Angular, but I don't think any of us have any experience to be driving that ship. I think if we stick to the like React world, maybe some Vue, maybe, but yeah, I think something in React would be awesome. So yeah, we've got live chat. Maybe we should look at building something that has live chat across multiple devices. I think that's a cool idea.
And yeah, I do think the one-on-one suggestion is a good one, because most chats do show how just to build a room, but they never extend it out to the one-on-one example. So I think that'd be pretty cool.
Very, very
Richard has a great suggestion there right under that message.
Make a real-time voting app to the same way you should build. It could save us so much time for every other stream that we go into completely unprepared. No, we're somewhat prepared. Like, I thought it'd be more fun that we could, we could build something on the fly and show you how amazing Supabase developers we are.
It would be a new way for us to engage with the audience.
That's true.
Yeah, we could do that once in a while.
Could do that. And we've got another vote for Next.js and a vote for Svelte. So currently, no, we got a +1 for Remix. I was going to say currently we have a tiebreaker between the three that all have one single vote. We've got another one for Remix though, so people are going to have to tune in with probably running out of engaged people that are going to vote on this. So currently, I think Remix is winning. Which probably works quite well, because I'm assuming some of you may already know this, but I recently launched a course on Level Up Tutorials. If you head on over to leveluptutorials.com.
Oh, we've just had another vote for Next.js.
Yes, that's tied.
We've got gonna have to do some kind of coin flip. Maybe we could do a Google. Oh no, we've got another remix. Sorry, I should be clicking these so everyone can see what we're talking about. We had another vote for Next.js, but then we had another vote for Remix. So currently we are 3-2, Remix versus Next.js. If you are keen on learning more about Remix, I recently built a course on Level Up Tutorials called Real-Time Remix with Supabase, which goes through definitely much deeper than we'll probably go through in this tutorial. But I recommend you go check it out. All right. Well, should we just start building something out? I guess we're thinking
wow. Look at those votes that just came through.
Whoa. All right. We've got a Next.js. We've got a Next.js. We've got a Next.js. Whoa. That is fierce.
Well, it came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere. I feel like maybe this is just the same person, like logging out and logging back in and like using a different name to try and drive up the votes. But yeah, I guess maybe we could go with Next.js. Do either of you two have a preference?
Well, I'm torn because I know Next.js quite well, so I could, help out a bit more. But that being said, I am quite keen to learn a bit more about Remix. So
same here.
Well,
Anthony says
stuff in Next.js, but
that's funny. Highlight Anthony's message there.
Well, I feel like, sorry if I click these. Nice. just going out and coming back in. Just you picked like good like variety of names. If they're they are fake, they're very creative with the name choices. All right. Next.js is fair. So yeah, I mean, they are both great frameworks, and really, like, they are, for what we will be using them for, they would be, very similar solutions to this. And so maybe we should do a Next.js app since we've got so many votes for Next.js. And maybe in the future, on a future stream, we could build something out with Remix and Supabase, because I think we're going to need a lot of excuses to build fun things. And so, although Jono has jumped in with a pretty good suggestion here, maybe we should. I believe if you just say coin flip into Google, it will give you
toss a coin or flip
a
a
head
coin
or a tail. So how about we
I didn't
go
know that.
heads Next.js, tails Remix?
Sounds
We're
good
going
to
to
me.
stick with
Love
it
it.
though.
Yeah.
If I click enter, we are locked in.
Love it.
Heads. Okay.
Next.js,
We're going with
it
Next.js.
is.
Next.js. There you go. It's
Sweet.
decided in the most fair way possible. A
Yep.
coin toss.
No one
There's
can feel
no arguing now.
Yeah, that's right. All right. We're going with Next.js then. So we're going to build a real-time chat application where you have channels. So you can go into a channel and just talk to anyone, or you can create a private room with someone and essentially DM someone. So yeah, this sounds fun. I feel like I hope your brain's ticking, Alaister, as to how we're going to structure the data side of this. Because like I can make it work, but I'm sure you can make it work better. I have a hunch.
Point. I was just thinking, can I use this app to try and date people? You know,
Well, that's
That's the point,
Well,
right?
the whole project will be open source, and so at the end, you could take this and turn it into anything you want. You could turn it into, a dating app. You could turn it into, I guess, like pretty much everything has some kind of chat. Although having chat like channels, open channels for everyone, that's pretty, pretty much some kind of communication app like Slack or Discord or something like that.
Maybe we should call them rooms in this case, so we don't get confused with the upcoming channels in the next real-time version for Supabase.
Yeah. Well, if we call them rooms, then they could. Well, I don't know. Maybe you can.
Well, yeah, no, that's a good point. You could just have it so you can have a room with a bunch of people, or you can just have a room with that one other person, and there you go. You've got one-on-one chat, and I think it keeps the data model nice and simple. So,
yeah,
as a first draft off the cuff, we could definitely give it a go.
Yeah, I wonder if we could do like like everything's just a room, but then you can have like just a public room, or you can have a private room. So like a private room is only open to the members that are added to that room, whereas a public room, like when you log into the app or whatever, you could see a list of public rooms. Something like that. That sound good?
Sounds awesome. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to click start my project, and you can see I have a shockingly disgusting number of active projects here. I build a lot of examples. Okay. It's fine. So we're going to build a new Supabase app. And so, I should probably step this through for people that, don't work at Supabase and click this button 50,000 times a day. So I've logged into our Supabase dashboard. I did that by signing in. So when you sign in, we'll get you to authenticate with GitHub, and then we'll land on this page. We can click new project. And then from here, you can choose the organization. Usually you'd have an organization that's just whatever your user account, whatever your GitHub username is, will be automatically created for you. So you can create it in there. But I create most of mine in this examples one, which, as you can see, gives me an insane number of free projects. All right. So let's give it a name. What's our creative name for our application going to be?
Oh, that's always a hard one. Naming things.
That's tough.
I completely forgot about the happy hour aspect of this, and so I'm just gonna crack one of these. You don't have to. You definitely no one has to be drinking to be a part of this, but I'm going to enjoy myself one fairy cake. Oh, there we go, a fairy cake beer, which is basically a dessert. It's not really a beer, but it's an oat cream IPA for anyone who's interested.
Where do you find these things, John? What shop do you go into?
When COVID kicked off, when we went into our big lockdown, for those outside of Melbourne had the biggest or the longest lockdown in the entire world.
Biggest and best. We had to beat everyone.
Exactly. And so during that, I was, like you're trapped at home. So you're looking for just fun things that you can do at home. and there was a local, it's called a micropub, which like has a collection of like small run like microbreweries. It basically has just like, 20 taps or something like that, and they just get interesting beers and cycle through whatever people are creating at the time. And so they were running a like a subscription service where you could subscribe to get interesting beers delivered to your house. And then I had interesting beers to try. And
Awesome.
so I've still got like a cupboard full because I really don't drink beer that often, but now I have an excuse on Fridays. All right.
APAC happy hour.
What are we going to call our project?
If it were up to me, I'd say go super uncreative and just chat something or other, and
Super chat, SUPA chat.
Oh wow!
What's that?
You can see I work in the marketing department with that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right off the
bat. I love it. Yeah, why not?
Do you have any suggestions in the chat? We've got
happy chat.
Happy chat.
Happy chat. That's pretty cool.
I like that.
I do like happy chat.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
And it's locked in. We're going with happy chat.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sometimes when you engage in the chat, you get a job, and sometimes you get to name the example application that we're building. All right. Strong password. I'm going to generate one of these off screen. I have so many generated Supabase passwords in my 1Password account. It's just silly.
Yeah, I think I do as well, to be honest.
We have ourselves a strong password. I'm going to put this in Oceania. So this is up in Sydney, which I guess is the closest region to me. But anyone watching, following along, feel free to grab the one that's closest to you. All right. So while this is creating our project, what kind of database schema are we thinking?
Well, I think the first thing we could probably set up is just a profiles table. I'm thinking we can probably just use when we won't do a friend system for this. That's probably out of scope for this chat app. So we'll just address people via a username. So on our register form, we'll add a username field where the user can put in the username, and then when we want to chat with that user, we have to know their username, or if we want to add them to a room.
Okay.
So we're going fancy, an ERD tool.
I thought it'd be really easy to just like quickly click something, and now
now you're going. Well, it's got a green loader, so that's always a good start.
Perfect. Yeah. So what were you thinking the first piece of this was?
So maybe like a profiles table, a public profiles table.
I like it. So our user signs up. We can create a profile for them where maybe they can set like a username, something like that.
So I was going to keep it simple and just do like the ID, which is a UUID. I have no idea how to use this tool, so sorry, John, I can't help you.
I'm out.
Yeah,
we gave it a chance. It let me down. We'll just wait for this to be finished. I think we're already finished. Let's give it a go. All right, we'll create a new table. And this was going to be profiles.
We could actually get, I don't know how fancy you want to get, but we could like use a CI text type for the username. Which
This is why I invited you along.
Yeah.
Using big scary terms like that. Can you explain what this is?
Yeah, for those that don't know, CI text, I think the CI stands for case insensitive. At least I hope it does. Otherwise, I'm doing that light bulb injustice. But what it basically means is when you search the database for a username, it will automatically either like automatically lowercase both things behind the scenes. So you can store values that look like they have upper and lowercase characters in them. But for example, say two users were trying to register the same username with different capitalizations. This would automatically prevent that, saying, nope, that's not allowed.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
It's some Postgres magic, which I'm just in love with. But
yeah, so you're saying this for like a usernames
Correct.
Sorry, username field.
Yeah, but we might have to, before we create the table, if you jump over to the database section and enable the extension, I'm not sure if it's enabled by default.
Okay.
Oh.
So, yeah, there are a collection of, I can take over this part. There are a collection of extensions that you can enable in Supabase. So if you come over to the left and click database and then go to extensions, there are a collection of them that are enabled by default. And then you can filter down ones that you want to look for. So I guess CI for case insensitive. We've got case insensitive text here. That's very cool. So let's enable this one.
Awesome.
So is this smart enough to then give us this option as a data type?
I believe it will.
Damn.
If not, I will be annoying the front end team saying, why doesn't it? But I believe it does.
Does it automatically add unique constraints if you choose that type? Would you have to?
So no,
explicitly
you have to
constraints?
still add a. Can you CI, John? If you type CI,
No CI.
Unlucky.
Go
Well,
text. Nah, it's not going to let us, is it?
No. So there's the is unique button, by the way, Tyler. So under that cog
Right.
icon. But it looks like we'll be doing it the old-fashioned way through good old SQL.
I'm glad you're here.
Well, it's all right.
So if we go over to the left, we've got SQL editor. So anytime there is something that, if you do have some experience with SQL, or you want to do something outside of either something that's supported in the dashboard, like something we've built a UI for, or if you just want to take, one of our templates, we have a bunch of really cool templates. So if you wanted to build like a Slack clone, I guess we are kind of building a Slack clone, but let's not just like copy all of this, but you can click the different templates that we have, and then it will just give you all of the SQL that you need to run for that. But let's create a new query where we can write our own SQL. So I guess we want to create a table, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And that table has the name profiles.
It does indeed. And then we're going to... I've secretly sent you some SQL in Slack, but I can talk you through it.
All right, let's do that.
Like, I'm back on the TV chef routine. Here's one I made earlier.
All right. Yeah, this is looking much nicer.
So,
right.
Yeah, well, let's see if it runs first. But this essentially, maybe you want to zoom in a bit as well, John, just for those viewers who are on mobile devices. Nice one. So it's very simple. We're creating an ID column, which is of type UUID. Notice we don't have a default value there. Usually we'd say gen random UUID, but the next step is we're going to set up a trigger. So when a user signs up, we're going to automatically insert into this profiles table for them. So that ID will match their normal user ID, making it super easy for us to look things up. Then the next column is our CI text column. They must have a username, so it's not null constraint. Then we're also adding a unique index, which adds the index and the unique constraint, meaning no two users can share the same username, which is great. That's what we want. And then finally, we're doing John's favorite thing and enabling row level security, which stops people adding themselves to the profiles table over and over again.
I can explain row level security.
Oh,
Don't do it, on that one. So yeah, row level security basically switches off, denies all actions by default. So if we don't have this, then there's nothing stopping anyone from doing, selecting all of the tables or inserting a new record or deleting something that's there. And so enabling row level security for this profiles table means that it automatically denies all of those actions by default. So we can't select, insert, update, or delete. And then if we want to enable any of those actions, we need to write a policy to enable particular actions for particular people. So we'll have a look at doing that in a second, I'm sure. So now that we've run this, if we come over to our table editor, once it loads, we now have profiles, and we have that ID and we have that username. Awesome.
Sweet.
Sweetie. So maybe I'll work on putting together a trigger function, and you can start setting up a Next.js app.
Sure. We don't have to.
Awesome.
We don't have to write scary raw SQL for everything.
Oh, we
can just
don't
click
for this,
around.
do we? Well, let's click around.
All right, let's click around. We're going to click database, and then we're going to click over
I'm
here.
too used to.
So we're going to. So sorry, what a trigger is, because we're just talking about what using triggers, but haven't really explained what it is. So a trigger is a basically a way that we can subscribe to particular events that happen. So if we subscribe to insert, update, or delete, then when something gets inserted into that table, if we have a trigger set up on insert, we can get it to call a Postgres function that we've created. So basically, the reason that we're doing this is because actually I can show you all of this now, because we can display different schemas. So when a user signs up for an account for the first time, so when someone signs into our Next.js application or signs into our Flutter app, it will go and create a user in the under the auth schema. We have this users table. And so when a user signs in, Supabase is going to keep a track of all of this information for our user. And so a bunch of this is just related to them signing in, their token, how they signed into our application, a bunch of stuff that we don't want to manage ourselves. So Supabase takes care of auth. But then if we want to add anything additional, so like a username, something that the user has, something that the user is adding additional information that's related to our specific application, that's where we want to create our own table. So that's what we've done by creating the profiles table. And then we want to create a trigger that's listening to this table. And anytime a new user gets inserted into this table, we want to go and create a related profile. Is that right?
Correct. That sounds wonderful, John.
All right.
Now, I have one question for you. I was wondering, so when you created that profiles table, you didn't reference the author users table, right? You didn't set a foreign key constraint there. Was there a particular reason why you went with not setting a?
Yes, there was a very good reason why. That's I forgot to.
Well, we can actually do clicking around now that we have that type. We can come here to the profiles table, and we can, I believe, edit the column directly. And here we can add a foreign key constraint.
Awesome.
So now that we know that there is an auth.users table, now that Tyler has...
This was the exact reason why we're...
Yeah, we planned this.
So now we can drop this down and we can look at all of our different tables and different schemas that exist, that have been created, that Supabase is managing for us. We've got our auth.users, and we want to set up our ID on our profiles table to link to the ID on our auth.users table. So now if we save that and save this, hopefully we set the types the same, because otherwise we might have a problem. Awesome.
Nice catch, Tyler. Well done.
Yeah, good call. So now you'll see that we have this relation. So the ID of this profiles table links to the auth.users.id column. So basically, we can't create a profile for a user that doesn't exist in the auth.users table. Something else that we probably want to think about, but maybe we won't worry about for now, is setting up a what happens when you delete a user. So we can set up a cascading delete, which we can specify when we're creating the table, which means that anytime the auth.user is deleted, it would also come and delete our profiles. But probably not something we're probably getting too deep into the the databasey side. Let's let Supabase do all that. We'll click around the UI and get some powerful stuff happening. So if we come over to database and then functions, we want to create a function that's going to that can be called anytime a new user is inserted into our auth.users table. So this function will be responsible for creating a profile in the profiles table, and then we'll set up a trigger that can call that function when a new user is inserted. So let's say create new function, and we'll say create. Oh, is there like a naming convention on the SQL side of things for creating functions and creating triggers and things?
Not that I really know of. Like, I called this function handle new user. Like, I don't think it matters too much as long as it matches in your trigger. It's not
the handle
What?
new user is a good name because it doesn't specify what we do in the function. Like it just says we're handling it. What I was going to say is create profile for new user or whatever, and then it's like, well, that function is now locked to doing that one thing. So I like the idea of just handle a new user that's signing in. So one thing we need to remember to do when we're setting up a trigger is the return type. Or if we're setting up a function that's going to be called by a trigger, we need to make sure that the return type for this is trigger. We probably don't need any arguments because we get a magical variable that refers to the new user the new row in the table that's being inserted. So we're going to say begin and end. So this is because we're using PL/PGSQL. This is like a procedural language that comes with Postgres. You can write these functions in a bunch of different languages. And if we click show advanced settings, you actually can drop this down and you can choose that you want to do raw SQL. If you are writing this SQL statement manually and not using the UI, like creating this function manually, you can like set it to a whole bunch of different languages like C and Java, and you can even write them in JavaScript in V8. But yeah, we're just going to stick with PL/PGSQL, which comes built in with Postgres. So anytime we have PL/PGSQL, we need to wrap it in a begin and an end. And then we want to, so the idea is a new user has signed up. And what we want to do, is we want to create a new file. So to create a new profile, we want to say insert into the profiles table, and then we tell it which columns we actually care about here. So in this case, if we think about the columns that are going, that we're going to be writing to, it's only going to be the ID that we care about, right? We're just going to be creating a new profile that links the two IDs.
And also the username, because we can actually specify the username on sign up, which is pretty cool.
That is super cool. You're gonna have to show me how to do that. This is gonna be a fun way to do these streams. I'm gonna learn so much and then talk about it like I always knew it. It's great. And then we specify which values we want to set for those different fields. So in this case, we'll get access to a magical variable called new, because we're going to be setting this on an insert. That means that we're going to have a new record that's currently being inserted into the auth.users table. And so if we say we want to set the ID to be new.id, this new.id is going to be whatever it's going to be whatever the ID of the currently inserting row on the auth.users table is.
Yeah.
How do we get the username?
Well,
yeah, how do we get the username? I was
there
wondering that.
we go. Maybe the best way to illustrate it is if you open this up in another tab, John, so we can go back over to that auth.users table so we can have a look at the columns. So let's see. You've got too many projects going on. Happy chat. There it is. Oh, you've gone right past it. There it is.
Chat.
And then we get, tables and back into the auth schema. We should have looked before, really. I was falling asleep, clearly.
Sorry.
Oh, JP builds.
Oh.
He knows what's up.
Oh, yes.
I didn't even think about that.
Very good call.
So if we scroll through the columns a little bit.
Whoop.
And then I think there's a column somewhere there.
Raw.
What's it called? Raw user metadata is the one we want.
That's
the raw app metadata is used for like some internal go-to stuff. I think you don't really need to worry about it. But the raw user metadata, there's actually a third argument on the Supabase JS sign up method where you can pass in an object, and that object lands in that column. Because if you notice, the data type of that column is JSONB. So we can use that. Yeah. We can
That's
use that.
cool.
I never used that before. That's clever.
Neither.
Yeah, well, it's pretty neat. We're going into some, I don't want to say advanced, but intermediate stuff that's good to know. So hopefully I'm not teaching JP builds anything, clearly. But hopefully someone learns something. Yeah.
Oh, I can't copy it from there, but I'm assuming that means that our value here will be new dot and then raw user metadata
Underscore data. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Raw user metadata. Cool.
And then since that's a JSON object, we need to dive into it. We can't just insert the whole JSON object. We need to actually grab the username out of it. So
right syntax?
Almost. There's one little nuance here which trips a lot of people up, and other way around, you want the extra thing. That's the one. So we need to convert the username column to text, because otherwise it comes in as another JSON value. But if you noticed, we set up our column type as CI text. So as long as we put it to normal text, it should be fine. I think as well, you can also put single quotes around username. I don't think it makes a difference, but that's what I've got in my example. So
this looks nicer.
Okay, we'll give it a go.
Red makes it seem scary and wrong.
It does. Yeah.
You know what's funny is that I'm still asking you how we do this, and I'm pretty sure this is literally the thing that got you a job at Supabase.
I think it was something pretty similar, actually.
This exact thing. We were inserting into the metadata, and we were messing up because I think instances had just been updated to a new version of Postgres that used a different different access operator for going into the JSON blob, I think. And so, yeah.
Do you know, I remember what the problem was, though, because I got so emotionally invested in that problem that I actually remember what happened. And that's that you'd written the function, and the function was actually okay, but we didn't set up a trigger. So the function was just sitting there, and we're going, why isn't it being inserted? Because the function wasn't running at all. So let's not forget to do that today, and we should be all right.
I don't think you'll ever let us forget about that ever again. And Innes is saying that he is learning new things. As you can see, I think all of us, except Alaister, are learning new things here. This is great.
Just to recap, Alaister, what's going on here. So the first arrow is taking the username value out of raw user metadata, and the second thing that's pointing to the right, that's converting the username to a text type. Is that correct?
I think, yeah, you can think of it like that. It's essentially just casting it to a text type, because it would otherwise be a JSON string instead of just a normal text string. But you can essentially think of that arrow operator as like the normal dot operator in JavaScript. But
that's very cool. So this actually would give us access to it, but then because we have because it's a database and Postgres is obviously very strongly typed and not as won't let anything through the door like JavaScript, it would actually fail on this statement, right? So we would because we'd be trying to insert a JSON type into a text field. Is that right?
Yep.
Cool.
You're quite right. And then the last thing I always do with trigger functions is just return new. I'm not sure if it's entirely, it might be needed, it might not, but it's just something that's in my muscle memory I've always done.
Right.
Yeah, let's have a look at some advanced options, shall we?
Yeah, so one thing we need to remember to do is at this point, if we were to leave this as security invoker, what that means is that it will, when we try to call the function, it will try to call the function with the same level of privileges as the thing that's trying to call it. And so that's usually what you want if you're creating a function that's going to be called from a signed-in user on the front end. So a good example of this is we have, if I go Supabase, JS, RPC. So inside the Supabase JS library, we have this RPC function. And so this allows us to call, sorry, I can make this a bit bigger. This allows us to call a Postgres function from the front end. So our client can, like if someone's using our Next.js app or our Flutter app, they can click a button and that can go and call a function, a Postgres function in our database. And at that point, because it's based on a user action, we want to know who that user is that was signed in that did that to see if they're actually allowed to call that function. But since we're setting up something that's being called by the database itself, that doesn't really apply. We don't need to know like who the user is who's calling this function. It's sort of like happening at a system level. Our database is when a new user is being inserted into a particular table, our database is saying, oh yeah, I need to call this function. And so we actually want to make this security definer instead of security invoker. So this is going to be called with the same level of privileges that we have in the Supabase dashboard right now. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense, John. Nice explanation.
Just make sure you click this button is the TLDR. If we're creating a function that's going to be called by a robot, click the security definer. If we're making a function that's going to be called by a person, click security invoker. That's sort of the easy way to remember it. I'm going to click confirm.
Edward tuning in from New York, 2 a.m.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow. Some dedication.
I feel like, that's
Thanks,
the
Edward.
other happy hour is, 2 a.m. It's the middle of the night.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it's Thursday night, so you've still got to worry
Cheers.
about, that's right. We still got to worry about maybe work tomorrow, something like that. But 2 a.m. is a good time for happy hour. And it is 9 a.m. in Kenya, which is totally a happy hour. If you enjoy your job and you've started at 9 a.m., then definitely a happy hour.
Yeah.
Friday morning. Beautiful.
So now that we've created the function, everything will just magically work, right? We can go and create our application now, right?
Well, we've learned from our past mistakes.
Haunting. You can see how much that hurts in your eyes.
Oh, Sao Paulo coming in with the
3 a.m.
3 a.m.
Wow.
3 a.m. is party time.
I would be fast asleep if it was 3 a.m. here.
Definitely.
Same here.
Definitely. All right, cool. So we have created our Postgres function. So this is the thing that we want to call, but we haven't created our trigger. And so what a trigger is it is a way to, can I click on one of these? If I zoom out slightly, I think I get, so we have these events here. And so these are triggers that have automatically been set up by something else in Supabase, but we can just see what it's doing. So it's subscribing to inserts. So anytime there is an insert on, does it tell us which table? What if I zoom out even further? Okay. Whoa. Right. So it's subscribing to insert events that are happening on some table. And then when that, it's telling us here, sorry, table is _type. And so that's the table that it's listening to inserts on. So anytime an insert happens to this _type table, it's going and calling this function. And so that's exactly what we want to set up for our new user. So we click create a new trigger. And do you have a wonderful name for this one?
What did I call this one? I called this one on auth user created with a bunch of underscores.
That is a beautiful name. See, again, talking about the event that happened. We're not talking about what it does. We're just saying this is something that's listening to a new auth user that's been created. When that happens, I want to do something.
Both ways are valid. It's just kind of different strokes for different folks. Whatever you prefer, both work.
Excellent. So we have the name of our function, and then we tell it which table we want to subscribe to. So if we scroll down here, we can see our auth.users table. So that's the one that gets inserted into. So this is a good question. What events are we going to subscribe to?
So for this one, we're just subscribing to insert. We probably, we have to come around to updating profiles, but we could just write a RLS rule to update the username directly in our profiles table. So we won't need to, once it's, just for insert, I think.
Okay. In that case, just going down that path, if we did set it up so the user could change their username directly on the profile, would we set up another trigger that's listening to updates on the profile and then write them back to the auth.users table?
Well,
wouldn't that create an infinite loop?
Well, no, because we're only running this trigger on insert. But if we did run an update, then yes, it could. Probably could. But yeah, so I think that's probably the way to go, John, because then we can do some validation and things.
Okay. So for this one, but sorry to get ahead of ourselves, for this one, we just want to listen to insert events that are happening on the auth.users table. And when those things happen, after the event has happened, so after we've inserted that new row into the table, the reason that I'm choosing after is because if it's before, I think from memory, it doesn't actually have the ID set yet. Like it triggers before the ID is generated or before. Yeah. And so we want it to be after. So that row has been fully written to the database. Everything's fine. It's past validation. That's another thing. I think it runs before the validation of the auth.users table. And so if we say after the event, we know that everything's all good with that row that's been inserted into the auth.users table. So it's safe to create a new profile for them.
It's then, just before we move on, it's worth saying that if your trigger fails, the nice thing, because it's Postgres here and we're in relational wonderful land where everything is consistent, say we were doing some username validation in our trigger function and they entered in an invalid username, we could raise an exception in our trigger function, and that would fail, and then it would actually roll back the insert on the users row. So even though it looks like we're doing after insert, we can actually interrupt that process for the purposes of data validation or whatever you want to do, which is quite nice, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's very cool. I'm just going to move this light slightly because I realized I'm staring through a face light to look at your faces, and it's probably not great for my eyes. And just to, I mean, we all know it at this point, but
I wish I was a master of naming things. I'd had these ones from another project, luckily, but if I didn't, I'd just be staring at the screen blankly.
Yeah, we'd have to build an app so that people can vote in real time to help us name each thing that we're trying to name. Maybe that's what we should do. We should build a generic, like, just answer this question for us. Like,
a polling app.
We need just chuck an answer in here. Awesome. So the next thing I was going to say is, so we're triggering this after the event occurs. So after we've inserted that row into the auth.users table, but we need to make sure that we change this from statement to row. And so as you can see from the little description here, row means that this fires once for each processed row, and statement fires once for each statement. And so this won't matter in our case because like only one user will be able to sign up at a time. But if you imagine that if we were like migrating a collection of users over from another application or something like that, if we had thousands of users and we did one big bulk insert into our auth.users table to move them across to our new Supabase application, if this was set to statement, it would only see that one bulk insert was just one statement that was inserting all of those users. And so it's only going to execute this once, which doesn't really make sense for a group of people that we need to create profiles for. If we say row, then it'll look at that statement and say, like, you know, how many new users are we creating? How many rows are we creating in the auth.users table? Because we need to call this function for every single one of them.
Yeah, it's I don't think I've ever used statement. I've pretty much always reached for row, and I'd say you'll probably know when you need to reach for statement, but just preface. Who knows? Losing my English. Refer to row first, I think, and
probably should default to row actually.
It probably should. We're finding after this. This stream, we'll probably just go to the front end team with a big list of things. Come on, guys.
All right. So we've got our row, and then we just need to tell it which function we actually want to call. So this is the handle new user function that we created previously, and we just click confirm. And that's going to set up that listener. So we now have, if I zoom out one more, you can see that we've now subscribed to insert events on the users table. And then when that happens, we want to call this handle new user function. Cool. So what do we need to do next?
Maybe we can set up the old sign up form in Next.js land and test all this out.
That's a great idea. Are we going to use the brand new.
Oh, it might be a push. We could probably just do it client side for this one, then bring that in next week.
Good call. All right. So I guess we need a new Next.js application. So I think this is as big as I can make this. I hope it's all right. We
readable.
are going to. You can see I've been creating lots of remix applications, but for this one we want to create a Next app, and this one is going to be called Happy Chat.
Should we use the Tailwind example?
Yep.
It has Tailwind set up for us already, right? Saves us a
The reason
step.
I took a deep breath was because it's a little sore spot for me. I need to go back and re-record an Egghead video, because in the I did an Egghead course. Look, we can advertise this as well. Push people towards, if you go to egghead/courses/something to do with a SaaS course, this is a free course that I created for Egghead. Maybe like, I can tell you, it was 7 months ago and updated 4 months ago. In one of the steps in here, we use this exact little template thing to set up Tailwind. And when I created the videos, it was a JavaScript template, not a TypeScript template. And so now the rest of the course is very confusing, because you have all these TF files instead of JS files. And it basically sets you up for failure. So thanks for reminding me. I need to go and re-record that video and just not run this command and just do just do it from scratch. But you're pretty confident with TypeScript?
Yeah, let's do the TypeScript. I'll keep you're gonna learn all sorts, John. It's gonna be fun. We'll get you all up to speed on TypeScript. I love it.
I just joke. I do have quite a bit of experience with TypeScript. I just like ripping on it. It's fun. It gets, TypeScript fans usually pretty keen to jump at any opportunity to defend it. So I like it.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to change it to the Happy Chat directory, and then we can open this up in VS Code. Actually, yeah, I have a teach command, but this is the same as typing code. It's just in my aliases, I have it set up to create it with larger text and things like that to make it easier for teaching.
Wow. So optimized.
Yeah. I just need to work out where my cursor is, and then we'll be fine. Drag this across. Make this full screen. All right.
Anthony says rescript in the chat, which is quite funny. He's a rescript god, or been doing it back for the since the Reason days and all the meetups. I don't know. You've probably seen some of his talks, John. Melb.js and things. He was talking on Reason back then. I think I've seen 3 of his talks. They're all excellent.
Right. Yeah, I did. That was one of the things that I was excited about learning, because it's similar to like Flow and TypeScript, and like it was around when everything was battling for that space, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, it lost out though in a major way.
So did Flow. I was working at a company called REA Group, or realestate.com.au if you're here in Australia, which went all in on Flow.
Good times.
Yeah, right at the point when they decided we're going to go all in on TypeScript, and yeah, lots and lots of big migrations. Actually, I left there and then went to Ferocia, who make a banking app here in Australia called Up, and they also went all in on Flow. And I was there for on the marketing side. I was there for the refactor across to TypeScript. So I've done it a couple of times.
Nice.
Yeah, but I haven't ever played with Rescript.
Big shout out to Up. I use them. I love their app.
Nice.
So good.
Yeah. It is a very cool company. They are very, very good at Mario Kart. For anyone that doesn't know, anyone that's into Mario Kart, they have like people who compete in Mario Kart nationally, I'm pretty sure. And so I started there, and I was like, yeah, I'm great at Mario Kart. I've completed all the cups, and just I was put to shame very quickly. Yeah, they have some,
for those outside of Australia, like, could you explain a bit about Up, the banking app called Up? Like what is it?
So Up was, or is, a it's a digital bank here in Australia, and so it is a Ruby on Rails app actually with a React Native front end. So it's all app based, so there's no web app for it, but a mobile bank that is very, very cool and hip and colorful, and their design team and like animations people are just insane, next level.
Nice.
Their branding is amazing.
But more importantly, the app is just like bank apps usually suck, but it's just an amazing app.
Yeah, and because it's like a Rails app and using React Native, like they can do all the cool database things that systems that are built on like what are those? What are I'm blanking on the old programming languages. Is Fortran one of them?
Probably.
Yeah. You know, things that are built on very legacy systems can't do, and so they do lots of cool things with like payment splitting and stuff like that, where you can you know, you can go out for dinner or something with friends, and then you can all like split the bill within the app, so it just like charges a little bit from everyone's account. Anyway, we'll stop giving free advertising to Up. We'll get them.
Yeah, we'll send them an invoice.
I feel like with APAC Happy Hour, they're the perfect company to sponsor this.
Cobol Innes says, yeah, that's
right.
a good one.
And Innes is saying that this is his exact stack. So Next.js, TypeScript, Tailwind, and Supabase. And yes, we did plan this session just for you. We
as soon as we saw you were here in stream, that's when all the the ideas started happening, and that coin toss also helped plan Next.js.
All this is like off the cuff, like happening live, and we haven't made any decisions. We knew what we were doing. We knew which path we were going. We planted some people in the chat to suggest the things that we already knew we were going to build.
We knew which way the coin would land.
That's right. Yeah. You might have seen I didn't go to google.com. I went to google.com.jonmeyers.io.
Yeah. Always heads every time.
All right. And more love for Up and more love for Cobol. That's one of the ones I was thinking of. Yeah. Cobol is nightmarish. It's not really nightmarish. I've seen the code once. I've never had to write any code in it. Okay, we have a Next.js application, so we should probably make it do things for us. Firstly, we're going to change this title to Happy Chat, and we're going to get rid of everything here. Actually, we can probably keep main. Let's keep main.
Yeah.
We'll just say hello and get rid of this footer. Get rid of some imports at the top. Ugh, what's this thing? Gross. All right, we've got ourselves a page, and if I come back over to here and we go here and actually run the application, npm run dev. Woo, we got an application. We're finished. All right, thanks for watching the stream. No, joking. We still have plenty of time. We got like
we're gonna smash this.
All right,
we're gonna smash it.
Thor's gonna come back and he's gonna be like, "I'm ready to join the stream, guys. Let's do it." And we'll be like, "We're done." What's your next?
It's too good advertising for Supabase, you see, because we'll just be like, "Oh yeah, built the app in a single stream, whole app, it's done."
We intentionally advertised it as like, this is going to be like a 6-week-long stream, and then we just smash it out in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Tyler builds the Flutter app as well.
Yeah, that's right.
In the next session, done.
So we can probably, I don't know if we actually need them side by side, but we can put them side by side and start building this out, I guess. So what do we want first?
I quite like the Tailwind Forms plugin. Have you ever used it?
No, I don't think I have.
Pretty nice. Well, because there's no default. Like if you just whack an input on the screen, you'll see there's no styling whatsoever. So the Tailwind, what's it called? Tailwind. There's literally no styling to it, so it just gives you some kind of base styles.
Right. Whoops. All right. I'm assuming this one.
That's the one. As a dev dependency, yeah. Nice.
we are going, whoops, we're going to, all right, we got there.
We're also we're learning new languages today as well, it seems.
We're going to install as a dev dependency Tailwind CSS/forms, and then we're going to run dev again.
Oh, there you go. Jono's going to enjoy a real happy hour.
Ah, good call. Yeah, heading to the pub.
Cheers, Jono. Have a good one.
Yeah, enjoy.
Yeah, enjoy.
I don't think I've been. Yeah, I don't think I've been back to an in-person pub thing since, you know, the event.
I'll get you out, John. Just you wait.
Yeah, it'll be finally the time when we actually meet each other.
Yeah.
And I guess we need to add this as a plugin.
Super simple.
So
I love Tailwind.
Config plugins.
Look at that. Easy.
Easy.
And then I think the only thing you also need to do is add a type text to the input, because it will leave like default inputs unstyled, which is handy if you need them for whatever reason, but we want to type text.
Good call.
There you go. An actual input.
That's beautiful. Look at that. You know what we're going to need an input for?
Are you waiting for something here? Username?
That application.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So first off, we're going to need a H1 to tell everyone where they are. So happy chat. And then we need some classes on this to say like text 2XL maybe, 4XL. And that's enough. All right. So how about we start by tying this into Supabase? I guess we should probably build some auth.
Yes, we should. I'd love the sound of that.
Because we need to test out our function and our trigger that we just set up at the start of this to show what they actually do. So I guess at some point we're going to need our at Supabase/Supabase.js. We're going to need to create a client to be able to do that. And then I was just hinted as I was typing in npm install that we could actually use Supabase UI for this. What do you reckon?
If you want to, I'm out of my depth in that one. Never used it other than
I'll teach you about this
dashboard.
Because it means we don't need to spend too much time building out a form. Although we've just installed a form library.
We did just install a form library.
But we can use the form library for the
the other ones. Yeah,
for messages, and we'll use the Supabase UI form for signing in. Because having multiple design systems is a great idea in all applications. Consistency is bad when it comes to design.
That's what they teach you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's design 101. Don't be consistent. All right. So just to show you what Supabase UI actually is, it is an awesome package that was created here at Supabase. And gives you a bunch of different like styled things. So it is like a design system where you can, use a button and it'll just give you a button like this that's themed Supabase-y. It is a very cool library to use if you do participate in any of the hackathons that we run regularly. It's a good thing to just kind of get you hit the ground running and make styling your application a little bit easier. But what we want to use it for is auth. So we can actually just import. Actually, I think we need a couple more steps. So first thing we need to do is actually create a Supabase client. So let's start there. We'll create a new utils folder and create a supabase.js file. And then in here, we will export the default.
JS or TS?
Tyler.
Tyler. See, Tyler's awake today, catching all the little things.
And here I was flying ahead, making great progress, and now we're gonna have to see how I go typing typing this client as I go. So we're going to call create client, which if my autocorrect was working, would be coming in from Can you tell I've written this once or twice?
Committed it to muscle memory.
Clearly.
I don't know if that's right. Is that right?
-JS.
Yes. Good call. Beautiful. And I can tell that because we have TypeScript. TypeScript is not just jumping out any to the screen and saying you can have anything you want. It's telling me that this is actually a properly typed thing that Supabase has given us. Thank you, TypeScript. All right. And now when we type create client, oh, come on. Oh, yeah, that's my fault. I, for some reason, don't have that on. All right. We would usually be seeing that this takes a URL and it takes an unknown key. And so these are two strings that we need to go and get from our Supabase instance. So actually, we have it here, don't we? Might expand this out and come over here. And then if we go to settings and then API, we can copy our unknown key from here. We could do this properly with environment variables. We should probably do that. All right.
It's not too bad, is it?
Yeah.
Next.js helps
I think
out.
it's okay. Yeah.
All right. Let's go. Whoops. 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 All right. I'm going to create a new file.
Or a folder.
We'll get there. Only, yeah, it's 424.
You need to move that to the top level as well. You're in the utils folder.
Perfect.
Nice.
Good stuff. Yeah. All right. There we go. So we create a .env.local file. And then let's say we want this to be next_public _URL. And then we also want a next_public_anon key, which is going to be this value that I just copied. So if I sign back in, and we find happy chat, we come back to settings. And then API. So we've got our non key. We just need our URL, which I can copy from here. And now if we restart our application, so if I come back here and just go run npm run dev again, then I can replace this with process.env next_public_supabase_URL. And then I can replace the anon key part with our.
I think it was just URL, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think it was just next public URL, I think. Wasn't it?
Yes.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Tyler, you're so on it today.
Whoops. Good call. We should make
That's
this.
why, yeah, every single time I use the environment variable, I always copy and paste it, even though, you know, it feels like an extra thing you have to do, but just to be sure that.
Good call. So since we changed those values, we need to run npm run dev again. And then we have our Supabase URL and our anon key.
I know you're a fan of any, John, but in this case, I don't think, well, you kind of could use any, but there's the equivalent of any, and that's just to add an exclamation point to the end of the environment variable names.
Really?
Really?
Saving me so many characters. Use my TypeScript file filled with any. Now they can just be filled with exclamation mark.
You should, really, we should be doing like a check above to see if it's there. And
Can
then,
you do something like that?
Yeah, that's allowed. But yeah, proper, you know, if we're actually checking, we should like throw an error if they're not defined before we call create client.
Let's do it properly.
All right, we're doing it properly.
I mean, we're gonna waste all those megs installing the library. We may as well. All right, we're gonna say const. Well, we can just say URL is equal to this one. Const anon key is equal to this one. And then we can say if not URL or not anon key, Throw new error. Bloody TypeScript. Got your types wrong. Didn't give us what we want. Which makes it TypeScript's fault, not your fault.
Yeah, that's how that works.
And then we want our URL and we want our anon key. And now this is perfectly typed.
Look at that.
So
Beautiful.
we could just say export default.
I actually like having the extra step of having the constant here, and that's because VS Code can pick up where you're, when you for the auto import, basically. I think it makes it better, but who knows?
Right.
We'll find
If only
out.
we had
Great
auto
point.
import and autocomplete turned on, we would really benefit from this statement.
Have you got it turned off?
I think so. Let's see.
Ooh, going hard mode.
Terrible. Or if we can just enable that.
No, I think if you try and use Supabase somewhere in there, instead of doing the import first, like just go into the component and then just start typing or just in the normal file anyway, well, maybe not in the JSX, but
Me like
yeah,
after line 4 or something.
And then control space after Supabase. Yeah, hit tab. There you go.
Look at that. Learning so much, even about VS Code. There's so much that I don't know. All right, cool. So we have Supabase. So if we go back over to our Supabase UI documentation, we can see what we actually wanted to do with our client. So here, this is all in just one big file, but you probably wouldn't do this. Usually this is just for, the documentation demonstration purposes. But now we can create a client by importing Supabase like this. And so at the top level of our application, we want to wrap our whole application in this auth.userContextProvider. So I might, cut this from here, and we'll move over to _app.tsx. And paste our input. And then, so we now have a client here. So we don't need to create a new client at the top here. We can just wrap our component in our auth.userContextProvider. And then if I do Command Enter.
You have to do it after the auth bit, I think, not because you've already dived into that object. Yeah. Command space or control space. There you go. That's it.
Look at that. Perfect.
Nice.
And now we don't get autocomplete. Fault. All right. Provider. I don't know why I turned that off. It seems like a very silly thing to do for demonstrations. It's obviously in the profile, like my settings.json for this teaching profile or whatever for VS Code. But it just sets me up for failure. I just I should definitely be auto-completing and getting things as correct as they possibly can be when I'm doing a demonstration. And we need to pass it the Supabase client.
Nice.
We'll wrap that around our component. So that's what we're doing over here. You can see we've got our user context provider, just zoom in a little bit, and we're passing it the client. And then this container is just this wrapper up here that's pulling the user out of auth.useUser. So we can do that somewhere else in our application. So
while we're on the topic of VS Code shortcuts, if you press Option-Shift-O, it should do something pretty magical. Damn.
Option-Shift-O.
Unlucky. It works for me. You've got it disabled, but it sorts the imports alphabetically.
Oh, that's very cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
That would be, very, very helpful. Does it do things like move the type out so you can have your types declared separately from your other imports?
It's not perfect. I'd like it to be a bit better, but it's good enough. I don't think it does anything real fancy like that.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, it's a good one to know.
So while this is killing Alaister. I'm just going to leave it.
Yeah.
Those unalphabetized imports. And then later in our application, I guess we can actually set up the sign-in page now. So
sweet.
If we open up, if I get my normal thing back, what's the shortcut to open your normal browser tree?
Yeah, I don't know that one because I just keep it open.
Oh yeah.
It only ever happens like I accidentally.
Yeah, I know. I hate it.
Shift Command E.
Shift Command E. Beautiful.
There you go.
That's awesome. All right. So we want to create a new page for logins. TSX.
Ooh.
Right. And do you? I think Vercel fails now if you just do like a default export. We do need to do a named thing like.
I think you can just use the function keyword. I usually go with that instead of using the arrow notation, but I don't know. I don't know what other people
Both
do.
work.
Yeah. With function keyword, you can just export it. Do a default export. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So we want. We can have a look here at the documentation for signing in. Let me make this bigger. All right. So this is going to give us this form automatically, and we'll see whether Tailwind battles with Supabase and see whether it breaks anything. But hopefully we'll get that nicely laid out form.
I think it will be okay because I think this is actually using Tailwind under the hood. We love Tailwind at Supabase. Yeah,
we do. There is a way to do this in a really simple way. I'm just looking for the example because this is manually calling Supabase. It's this. Yes. So we can just use this on our login page. Import it. And then we need our Supabase. Can I just do this here?
Yeah.
Oops. That one.
Supabase C.
Supabase base. All right. There we go. All right.
You got to double up on the base.
You got to double up on the base. That track at the start doubled up on the base. Definitely. Right. So we're returning our auth component, which I think is all we actually have to do. So then if we go, I have this already open, but let's go localhost 3000. And if we go to /login, yeah, it gives us that form.
Oh, wow.
So we might want to maybe restrict this a bit so it doesn't just grow to the full width of the screen. We could put this in a div and give that div a class name of like max width 2XL. Try a background red. Right. That's pretty good.
MX Auto as well.
MX Auto.
We all know
Auto.
Tailwind.
Oh, it did an auto. It just changed the ordering of them.
Yeah, it's a new thing on the Tailwind plugin. It's great.
Oh, really?
That's very cool.
Well, I think it's actually not the Tailwind plugin. It's the prettier plugin for Tailwind. Don't quote me on that, but
so can I do min height screen, and then I can't do my auto, can I?
No, you can do some good old Flexbox flex justify center. or a line item center. It'd be one of those. John, Australian spelling, it's not allowed, or English spelling.
That's what's going on. Whoa. My bad.
There you go. And can I have also PX4 or something like that, just to pull it away from the edge on mobile?
Did I just spell it incorrectly again? Is it item center or is it
item center? Yeah, it was working. There you go. What happened to MX Auto?
Well, this justify if that it should be justifying them into the center, shouldn't it?
No, because you set a max width on this container.
Center's a child, so yeah.
If you had another container that was like height screen and width screen, whatever, it would work that way. Yeah.
Good call.
And I think Alaister wanted PX4 or something. Maybe PX. Yeah. PX, sorry. Padding.
I was wondering what T was. I went along with it. I thought I was going to learn something new again.
Because now if you shrink it on mobile, it should stay away from the edge.
Good call. Yeah.
Nice.
Beautiful.
And Anthony is confirming prettier plugin Tailwind. So I don't remember setting that up, but it must set it up for us. So
I'm assuming I have an extension.
We used the template, didn't we? So maybe if you look in the prettier file in this project. I mean, never mind. Maybe package JSON, see if it's installed. Prettier plugin Tailwind. There you go.
Look at that.
Sets it up for us. Great template.
Yeah, nice. Cool. All right. So, we've got a form. So now you'd think that we'd need to set up more stuff to have auth in our application. But I'm pretty sure if we just expand this out a little bit, and if we can toggle between sign up and sign in, so we don't even need to create like a register page.
Wow.
So if we're signing up, we will need to use a real.
Actually, I should have caught this earlier. We did need to use our own form. We've gone down a rabbit hole
because we have that username metadata.
We have the custom field.
That's a good point.
Whoops.
What time is it? Oh yeah, we can do this.
20 minutes. We got it. Anthony is just confirming it will auto load as well.
All right.
Thanks,
we're going right the way back.
Amazing.
Yeah. I think do you want to take the message off the screen though, John?
Yes. Good call.
Nice one. So, there you go. We just did that little sidebar tutorial for those of you who wanted to know Supabase UI, and it was another part of the planning process that we definitely came up with earlier.
It was pretty amazing.
But yeah, that shows you how easy it is to sign up with Supabase. So if you just needed a simple login screen that just had an email and password, this would work. And the cool thing about this auth component is you can actually pass it, I think, a list of providers. And so if you specify that you want Google, Facebook, and GitHub, as long as you have those enabled in your Supabase auth settings, it'll just magically work. And it'll just display the buttons for you like this, which is that kind of
so handy
form that you're used to seeing, or your users are used to seeing. All right, let's create a input.
All we need is metadata option right now for this project. if we only had a metadata option in there.
Yeah. Well, someone will probably tell us after the stream that we could have actually used it and it would have worked okay.
I'm sure there's a way to give it additional inputs or something. Johnny would have built this properly, right? Surely.
I trust in Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny, for context, is on the front end team, and I think he was the main one that built this UI library.
Yeah, he is very good at the front end. So we have an input type of text, which is going, even better, of email.
Ooh, lovely.
Look at that. Can you doesn't give us anything magical with labels and things, does it? So we'll create a label. Oops. Label for email. And this can have a HTML4 set to our email field, which means we need to give this an ID of email. Now, look at that. Beautiful. It's almost as beautiful as the last one.
Almost.
Almost. So now if we wrap these in a div, going to do this the cheaty way and just make it a p tag.
That hurts me so much.
All right, we're putting it in a form properly. We're moving the labels in. If we're going to do labels properly, we should do all of it properly.
I didn't mind the div wrapping the label in the input, so we could style it a bit.
All right.
I think there's also on the input. I don't know what it does, but Tailwind gives you, in that plugin we installed, form-input as a class for the actual input. I don't know what. Yeah.
Form.input. Oh,
dash
like
input.
Use a
on the input, like where you say type email, if you add a class name.
Yep. Input class name equals like this, and
form
say
dash input. No, form dash. Sorry, like hyphen. Yeah. I don't know what it does differently, but it's there. Does it look the same?
Doesn't look like it does anything. So maybe
never mind. Going off
bring in
on
a
a tangent.
We might need to like import the CSS. But how do we want to do this? I'm just going to put a class name on here for block. So it appears above, and I'm going to give it like some bold.
You've got rid of block and put bold. You had double bold.
Oh, right. It did the auto thing. That's going to throw me off.
That's tricky, isn't it?
Block and text bold, I think, isn't it? Also, usually I have like things that pop up with suggestions here.
Yeah, I know, but you've disabled them all.
Yeah. Text XL. So why is it text XL but font bold?
Yep.
Just because.
Good. All right. XL. Look at that. Beautifully styled form.
Yeah. Studio prisoner telling us that it's font bold.
Yeah. We can make something more prettier later.
I'm a fan of that. Let's get it working and then make it look good.
Yeah. So we can also have a password, which can have the type and ID of password, and we can link it as password.
Do you want to also add a name to the input so we can just do a on submit handler a la remix?
Yeah, good call. We'll do name instead of ID. And I was just thinking of something. Oh yeah, we can actually use things from Supabase UI. So we could actually still style it as like inputs.
Oh yeah.
And then we could do an input, make them slightly nicer. And then I think that speeds up this a little bit or reduces the amount of stuff we need to write. Because I think we can do like specify a label as maybe a we could specify something like that, like a label that automatically gets put in a label block.
Input labels. Let's see. Yeah, there's a label prop. You can just, or there's label optional.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. So we have an input, we have a label. So we could say label equals email with a capital E. And then I'm pretty sure we can just get rid of this.
That's pretty nice.
And
there you go. Look at that.
Nice. Much more nicely styled than mine. And I think we can actually just get rid of all these divvies and give ourselves a label password.
Studio says as well, today I learned Supabase UI is nice.
Yeah,
I think
it is
Johnny
nice.
will appreciate hearing that.
Absolutely.
Wrong way around,
can
but you
we
should
put-
use this. My favorite
yeah.
thing in Tailwind, the spacing utilities.
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, they're so good.
Is it just space?
No, space -y-4.
So good.
So,
Look at that.
oh,
Beautiful.
it's lovely.
And anything else that we add in here, it just
Like a button to say, oh, well, we need one more input for username and then a button.
Yeah, I feel like things like that, things like the Y, like just the space thing to apply space to all of these, and also like the MX auto, MX5, whatever, PX4, like that's just enough reason to install Tailwind.
Yeah,
I feel like they're defaults we need, like those axis things, like having a horizontal axis and a vertical axis is just like, that's what we need in CSS, definitely.
Flex gap is at 87.6% support browser-wise, so I'm so ready when that gets above 90%. I'm just going to start using it.
Yeah. Where do we want our username display?
Probably after the email. I reckon email, username, password. That seems logical to me.
I like that.
Good. Cool. And then we just need a button, which we can bring in from here.
Anthony saying it's safe to use gap. Probably.
Yeah.
You've got name password like a bunch of times.
Name password. I do. What happened there? Username. And this one we'll fix in a second. So we can have a look at what a button looks like. So we probably want a primary button to show that we're logging in. Cool. Okay. Is it just?
I think it's button.
Type.
Yeah. Type primary.
Name can be submit. Label can be.
I think you just give it as children.
Oh yeah, of course.
Do we need a name for button? I think we can just get rid of it, right?
Yeah, I guess we don't. We just need to pull it out in the in the other bit. So
should we also give it an HTML type of submit, so it like submits the form?
Isn't it submit by default? I'm not sure.
I think it's no type primary. Johnny's taken over the type prop for his own designs, so I think there's another prop called HTML type, which is for the underlying button type.
Oh, that's cool. So we want this to be submit.
And I think this is the sign up form, right?
Sign up instead of login?
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah.
Yep, that one.
What do we want it to be?
Sign up. Sign up.
Well, this is the login page, so we're gonna have to create two different.
Oh.
We'll do the sign up first, and we'll just
Yeah.
And let's say const handle submit equals an arrow function, which is going to be async to save us some time later. And we probably want to call Supabase, well, probably want our form values. There is a cool way to do this, because we can say like form data equals e.target. No, new form data.
New form data, and I think it might have to be on the current target for React.
It looks like we got some spams in the chat.
Yeah, John, get out the ban hammer.
Bang, prevent default.
No, I mean on stream.
Oh, you mean this?
Yeah.
No, I mean look at the stream and get out the ban hammer.
In the comments.
Whoa. How do you? Whoa.
I don't. Yeah.
I can block user.
Oh, there you go. Done.
And they're gone.
Ban
Sweet.
hammer.
That's
Like that.
That's excellent. Cool.
Do you want to log that form data and we'll see if...
Yes. What do we do about this here? I'm assuming
we can do...
What am I doing?
Make the handler...
Form element or something, isn't it?
Yeah, form in... off the top of my head. Hang on, let me look it up. Text input, form input, something like that.
Form handle submit e type script.
Yeah, React form event, and then you pass it in HTML input element, but on the for e dot form event. Sorry. React dot form event.
We want this to be HTML form element. Is that right?
Input element. Oh no, sorry. It might be form, actually. I'm not sure. I'm looking at a random example.
That looks happy. And if we do E, yeah. And that is one of those things. Cool.
Right.
All right. So let's console log out this. Over here, enter in. Oh, we broke our styling. Where did we break our styling?
Why is it shifting?
You can just make the inputs width full.
Oh, yeah.
The styling's still okay, but yeah. No?
No.
Oh, because the form needs to be width full or something now. There you go.
No.
We added that extra layer.
All right. And now let's see if it works. So if we say Jon at supabase.com, username Jon, something secure 1 2 3. All right. And if we open up our console, we've got form data. Yeah, because this is one of those things. So if we say like get email,
I think you can just wrap it in a object.from entries or something like that.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, and then can't you destructure?
Then you can destructure stuff, but it's just a normal object now.
Awesome. That was the tricky trick that I was thinking before. And it's an empty array. Great.
From entries, sorry.
Woo! Now, because it's a normal object, we can destructure off our email, password, and username.
Nice.
Then we could... We've got all the right stuff before we... Whoops. Here we go. This, and we've got
looking
our
good.
Email, we've got our password, and we've got our username. Cool. So now we just want to sign our user in. So we can say
sign our user up, even.
Sign them up. We can say we're still on the login page.
I know, but we've got a username field, so we're doing sign up. We can just rename it. No one will
Good
know.
call. Easier to take it away later.
Yeah.
Create the I like it. All right. Await Supabase dot sign. It's auth dot
sign up.
And then we want to give it an email, a password, and then do we need to specify that? Oh, you were saying the third argument. We give it the metadata?
I was saying, or the next argument, yep, you can give it another object, and it has a field called data here, which then you can pass our username in, and that's what goes through to the database. We're coming full circle now.
That is so cool. That's awesome. I'm
Yeah.
glad we went
That's
this way
awesome,
about
yeah.
it. And well, I'm extra glad we realized before trying to like go through the whole thing that nothing was going to happen when we click submit. I just realized it's almost 5 o'clock.
Yeah, this better work first time.
Yeah. All right. Let's test if this works. So, well, quickly. Let's just say if there is no email, or there is no password, or there is no username, we just want to return.
Wonderful. Didn't fix it.
Beautiful way of handling.
What type are those? Because I
No.
think form data might make them something random.
Okay.
Yeah, like they can be files and stuff because it's form data.
Right.
So yeah,
We have to.
yeah, but you can just do the one type of check. So you can say if type of email is not equal to string, because if it's undefined, it won't be. It's not a function either. Yeah.
That. Oops. Like that.
Yep, and you can even get rid of the if not email in front of it.
If not email,
Like,
right? If we just say,
yeah.
Type of email does not equal string, or type of password does not. All right.
Nice.
Good call.
I like how we're going through the trouble to do these like proper checks, but then we're just like returning.
Yeah. The illusion of type safety.
Nice.
I mean, as long as we add required attribute to the input field, this should be okay, right? The browser is gonna do that.
Yeah,
actually,
true.
We can go one better. We can go, if all of these are that, then we want to do this thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Oh, come
right?
on. So if type
Oh,
of
equal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. So if we have type of email string and type of password string and type of username string, then we want to call sign up. Otherwise, we want to give the user no feedback whatsoever and not tell them that anything is wrong. So they keep clicking that submit button.
We've got a question through. And the answer is yes, you could, but we're the best TypeScript developers about, so we're doing the checks. But yeah, you totally could.
Awesome.
Did it work?
So,
did it work? Have you hit it?
Maybe I should change this password to.
Yeah.
I think you can do what you like.
I just mean if I then sign up, someone might go and sign in. Oh, 500 internal error. Bam, bow.
I think that's a little too small for me to see as well. I wonder what it says, the error message.
Yeah.
It's probably our trigger function just wasn't quite right.
We have database error saving new
Yeah,
user.
that means the trigger function. I'm thinking we need some... we could probably check out the logs as well, even the database logs.
Let's do it. All right. So if we come back to our Supabase instance and we go to database and then to logs, will this be the logs for the database? Yeah, it'll be the logs for the database itself, right? Rather than the...
There's Postgres logs, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is there any errors in there?
Zoom out. Do I get more?
Oh, there's some error. I saw one.
Current transaction is aborted. What is the problem?
Go the other one. Oh, relation profiles does not exist. That's the error. So because we're running this trigger in the context of the auth schema, it's looking for auth dot profile. So we just need to update our function to say public.profiles.
Cool. That's easy.
There you go. We're doing a proper debug process as well. Actually looking at the logs.
Nice.
Look at us go.
It's amazing. Wow, there's a lot of functions. All right. Handle new user. Can we edit the function directly here? We can.
I don't remember them being all there before, do you? All those functions. When did they pop up?
Yeah.
I think a lot of them are GraphQL related.
Yeah. All right, let's try
profiles. And that should be all we need to do. So we'll click confirm. And then hopefully, yeah, we shouldn't need to redo our trigger because our trigger is still set up to call a function with that name. So now if we close this and we try and, well, I guess we should actually leave that open.
Yeah, we need that one.
And we click sign up, we get a 500 error.
Awesome. Let's look at the next. I think it's that string one that I was talking about earlier, where you got to wrap.
All right, let's have a look at the errors again. Oh, the string for.
Let's try it before. We'll just around username. Although, yeah, I don't know.
Username doesn't. Yeah, you're right.
Gosh, column username. Yeah, because it's looking for the username column instead of like using a string as to go in. Like if there was a column there that was called username with the value of username, I think it might actually work, which would be funny.
Right. So you're saying we need single quotes around
single
username.
Quotes around that one. Yeah, not double quotes because that's the same as no quotes in Postgres land.
So many good things to know. It's great.
Yeah, learning so much.
Come on. If it goes wrong this time, I don't know what the problem is.
Hey, 200. Presumably everything worked. So now if we go back over to
look at the dashboard.
Yeah. If we go over to our table editor and go to profiles, we should see that there is now a new profile.
Beautiful.
Named John. So everything worked perfectly. And if we have a look at auth.users.
First try, yes.
First try.
Yeah, first try. Definitely.
Yeah, John's going to produce a sneaky edit of this and just chop out all of those. Well done, guys. First try, no problem.
You're just adding more and more stuff I need to edit out.
No,
stop saying things. Cool. So we have our user, and this is all of the stuff that our user has that Supabase is keeping a track of. But then here in our raw user metadata, you'll see that we have our username set to John. Awesome.
Nice.
So it's written that to our auth.users table, and then that, because we have a trigger that's subscribed to inserts on there, it's saying, hey, a new value was inserted. So let's go and create, or let's call the function that then creates a new profile on the public.profiles table. And it gives us that ID, which is the ID that was generated for our auth.users table. And if we, I think, maybe not. I think we can, if we edit, we can actually look at what that links to, and we can see all of the auth.users stuff. So we can see that the ID is linking correctly to our auth.users table. And I think we're probably going to leave it there for this week.
Yeah, good stopping point.
Amazing,
yeah. Thanks to everyone who joined us for our very first, well, kind of first. We kind of did one last week, but it was at the wrong time. It was in the morning for us.
It wasn't not right. Happy hour.
That's not happy hour. That's sad hour.
Still Friday.
But
still also, Friday. Tyler looking on the bright side.
I recommend that you go and check out our YouTube channel for Supabase, where all of these things will be streaming. You see that's streaming live right now. And check out our Twitter for Supabase. And also, if you click through on our in our description on our Twitter, we've got our Discord here, which I suggest you go and join because there's lots of cool people building cool stuff with Supabase. Yeah. Anything else from?
Well, just to say thanks. There's lots of people, saying thanks in the chat. Thanks for sticking with us for the whole time. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. We really enjoyed your company. It was amazing.
Absolutely. And yes, happy Friday, everyone. Enjoy, whether it's actually Thursday for you or really early in the morning on Friday or late in the afternoon on Friday. Enjoy. Have a great weekend. And I'm going to just play the intro video again.
Oh yeah, we can listen to that again. That's great.
I don't have anything else to transition to. So thanks for watching. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone. See you.